to this special episode of Queer Onda El Paso, Pride as Protest.
From the Stonewall Riots of 1969 to the front lines of the LGBTQIA plus rights struggle of 2026, Pride continues to be one of our community's most visible assemblies. This is an account of the very first Pride protest. In 1969, homosexuality was classified as a mental illness by the American Psychiatric Association, and laws in most states criminalized same-sex activity. Police raids were routine. New York City police regularly raided gay bars. The Stonewall Inn, located at 51 and 53 Christopher Street in Greenwich Village, was one of the few places queer people, particularly drag queens, transgender women of color, gay men, and lesbians could gather.
On Friday, June 27, 1969, at 1:20 a.m., New York City Police Department officers raid the Stonewall Inn under the authority of the State Liquor Authority. Approximately 200 patrons are present. Police began arresting employees and patrons who do not conform to gender-appropriate clothing laws. A crowd outside began to gather and grow. In the previous raids, the crowd quickly dispersed. This time, they resist. Patrons and bystanders began throwing coins, bottles, and debris at police. A lesbian woman in handcuffs is struck by officers and shouts to the crowd to fight back. This is widely credited as igniting the full-scale riot.
Police barricade themselves inside the Stonewall Inn. The crowd swells to hundreds. Riot police are called in and clash with protesters throughout Greenwich Village. Key figures present include Marsha P. Johnson, a Black transgender woman and activist, and Sylvia Rivera, a Latina transgender activist, both of whom participated in the resistance.
If a transvestite doesn't say, I'm gay and I'm proud and I'm a transvestite, then nobody else is going to hop up there and say, I'm gay and I'm proud and I'm a transvestite for them. History isn't something you look back at and say it was inevitable. It happens because people make decisions that are sometimes very impulsive and of the moment, but those moments are cumulative realities.
Marsha P. Johnson.
Protests and clashes continue for a second night. Crowds chant and confront police. The Village Voice publishes coverage using derogatory language, sparking further outrage from the community. Within 24 hours, headlines brought attention to the riots.
Gays hit New York cops. Thousands of homosexuals hold a protest rally in Central Park.
Other headlines read, Support Gay Power. Sunday night had fewer chants, but more fag follies, as the Voice calls them. Defend the ferries.
In the wake of this first uprising, community members began organizing. Flyers circulate calling for a unified LGBTQ plus response to police brutality. Smaller protests and vigils are held throughout Greenwich Village. On July 2nd, 1969, a third and fourth wave of protests erupt, drawing larger and more politically organized crowds.
By late July, a mere few weeks later, the Gay Liberation Front is founded, one of the first gay rights organizations to use the word liberation and adopt an explicitly political framework. The Gay Activists Alliance is also formed, focused on direct political action and civil rights. On June 28, 1970, the first gay pride marches are held simultaneously in New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Chicago, commemorating the one-year anniversary of Stonewall. These marches are the direct forerunners of modern pride celebrations worldwide.
Queer historians cite this first Stonewall riot as the catalyst that began the transformation of pride into an open, confrontational civil rights movement. Words and phrases like liberation, pride, and coming out become part of a national discussion. But more than protest and discussion, real change was imminent.
Well, that interruption of our broadcast a moment ago was by a member of something called Gay Raiders, an organization protesting, he said, CBS's alleged defamation of homosexuals on entertainment programs.
By 1973, the American Psychiatric Association removes homosexuality from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
Legislative and political changes occurred quickly after that decision.
In 1974, Elaine Noble becomes the first openly gay person elected to the Massachusetts state legislature.
The gay rights movement continued to affect change in the coming decade.
Restrictions on civil service are lifted. Gay men and lesbians are no longer banned from federal employment.
The Briggs Initiative, which would have banned gay and lesbian individuals from working as teachers in public schools, is defeated.
Same-sex relationships are decriminalized in California and Wisconsin.
Federal employment protections against discrimination are enacted by President Bill Clinton.
Civil unions are legalized in Vermont.
35 states and Washington, D.C. repealed their sodomy laws either through legislative action or state court rulings, culminating in Lawrence v. Texas in 2003.
2004, Massachusetts became the first U.S. state to legalize same-sex marriage.
From 2008 to 2014, a growing number of states, including California, New York, and Washington, began legalizing same-sex marriage through state court rulings, legislation, or ballot measures.
In 2013, the Supreme Court struck down the Federal Defense of Marriage Act in United States v. Windsor, allowing the federal government to recognize legally performed same-sex marriages.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, legislation in the U.S. significantly expanded LGBTQ plus history and inclusion.
While there is no comprehensive federal anti-discrimination law for sexual orientation or gender identity, over 22 states and major municipalities have enacted local laws that protect LGBTQ plus individuals from discrimination in housing, employment, and public accommodations.
But despite all this progress, the future of our rights would soon become uncertain. This report from CBS News in 2026.
When President Trump took office 1 year ago, he distanced himself from Project 2025, that 900-page plan that lays out how the government should run according to conservative principles. But his administration has rolled out policies that closely align with many pillars of the blueprint, including ending diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, launching massive immigration enforcement, and taking steps to overhaul the federal workforce.
In the current political climate of 2026, Stonewall is increasingly evoked as a reminder that LGBTQ plus rights were never given, they were fought for. That fight continues to this day, particularly in the face of anti-trans legislation.
Texas lawmakers have filed a record number of bills this year aimed at the LGBTQ community. According to civil rights groups, more than half of the 200-plus bills target transgender Texans. Families tell us they're feeling forced to choose between their state and their children.
Anchor Zach Lashway from KPRC in Houston.
Many activists in 2026 are explicitly invoking Stonewall to argue that Pride must return to its protest roots, pointing out that the first Pride was a march, not a party, and that the current moment demands that same energy.
Here's a clip from a protest held in San Jacinto Plaza in El Paso in 2025.
I mean, we're at a crossroads right now of true fascism in this country. I mean, they're rolling back rights for everybody. And so, yeah, we got to get out, get our voices heard.
In 2026, it seems like our work has just begun again.
The legislative assault on transgender people represents the most urgent civil rights crisis in the LGBTQ plus community today. Hundreds of state and federal bills have been introduced or passed targeting gender-affirming care for minors and adults, bathroom and facility access, as well as trans youth participation in school sports. Also at issue are documentation rights regarding gender markers as IDs and birth certificates. It became clear that our community was in the crosshairs of our conservative politicians, and the limitation of our rights would be enshrined in the Project 2025 initiative.
Another modern-day casualty of this new wave of supposed religious conservatism is LGBTQ inclusion. Nearly 40% of U.S. workers report their employers have rolled back diversity, equity, and inclusion practices, a dramatic reversal from the corporate LGBTQ allyship declarations of the 2010s and early 2020s.
From CBN News 2023.
Retail giant Target began advertising gay pride products in early May, including items for trans women. Following intense pushback, the company decided to remove some of the items from stores.
LGBTQ plus employees are now navigating heightened workplace stigma, reduced internal support, and the loss of employee resource groups and inclusive benefits in some sectors. The rollback represents a stark reminder of what many activists warned. Corporate pride was never unconditional. When the political winds shifted, so did many corporations.
Queer community leaders are calling for renewed corporate accountability and questioning the role of corporate sponsorship in determining the direction of pride organizations. Pride events are also being limited. The cancellation or significant alteration of major pride events reflects the culmination of political hostility, economic instability, and reduced funding.
In Florida, Tampa Pride has suspended operations, citing a hostile political environment, loss of grants, and declining corporate sponsorships. Other cities face internal conflicts over the commercialization of Pride, including a backlash in Philadelphia over ticketed sections along the parade route and the corporate takeover of community-centered events. If there is a silver lining, it is that this type of repression is once again catalyzing mobilization. The sentiment that we need pride now more than ever is a recurring message from the Human Rights Campaign, frequently invoked by HRC President Kelly Robinson.
Pride is not just a celebration. It's about solidarity. It's about showing up for each other, protecting one another, and refusing to leave anyone behind. In divisive times like these, that history matters more than ever.
Pride organizations across the country are explicitly centering resistance and political action in their 2026 themes. In multiple states, Pride events are serving as ballot campaign hubs, collecting signatures for equal rights initiatives and marriage protection amendments.
New coalitions are forming between LGBTQ plus activists, immigrant rights groups, reproductive justice organizations, and racial justice movements, recognizing the intersectionality of these attacks. Grassroots pride events are proliferating in areas where large institutional pride events have been canceled or compromised.
It doesn't matter if you love him or capital H-I-M.
As we focus on Pride in June, it is critical to understand that the parallels between 1969 and 2026 are striking. We are once again a community under legal assault, which is exacerbated by corporate and governmental abandonment.
With hundreds of anti-trans bills advancing across the country, nearly 40% of U.S. employers rolling back DEI commitments, and major pride events facing cancellation, the stakes for the community have never been higher. The first pride demonstration began in 1969. It grew to affect significant progress for our community, yet still faces extreme and more organized opposition today.
This year, as you celebrate Pride, it is important to understand its history. The Pride March was born as a protest, a direct act of resistance and visibility, not a celebration.
It is as important as ever for us to pick up the torch, to continue to demand freedom and equality for all, and to remember our history as we celebrate Pride.
We'd love to hear from you. Email us at feedback@queeronline.com or visit our website and leave a comment. www.queeronline.com. That's www.queeronda.com.